Hold on, yeah. Whatever you want.
Like,
We're sitting here with Gannon Wise on the keys. I'm your host with the most, the White Wolf. Why am I called the White Wolf, you ask? Well, I'm gonna tell you the story here. It goes something like this. Yeah, baby. He is the White Wolf. Take off your pants and sit a while without pants on. He's sitting in the corner of the room alone. Yeah, 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 yeah. The pantsless man sits alone without friends because he is a hairy bastard. Tickle them, Ivory, you sexy motherfucker. Boom, bop, dee, da, boom, boom, ba, da, dee, da, da, boom, da, boom, da, da, dee. Oh, I need to get you sustain, huh? Even though you don't really need it, but you certainly don't. You don't sit on that sustain like some terrible pianists in this room with this guy. So, talk to me, Gannon.
what's up? What do you...
Tell these people who you are. While I look for the sustain pedal.
I'm a guy named Gannon. I like to play piano and do music and work with whatever groups I can work with to make music that I like. But mostly I want to get to be able to focus on doing my own thing kind of eventually, which I think will happen.
So if you're going to do your own thing, is it going to be like just piano, or what? Like, are you going to like music direct and have a bunch of instruments?
Yeah, I'd want to have a lot of different parts and arrange them all, you know. I've got an idea in my head of what they would sound like and what kinds of timbres would they be involving, you know, for which parts. And yeah, I'd like to just do that. It'd be nice.
What genre would it be in?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Probably different genres. A lot of it I could see maybe being like part of a movie soundtrack or some kind of a short film soundtrack or something.
So, name some bands that you have been associated with, and who are you playing with right now?
My main band that I feel like a real member of is called Latumba, and yeah, it's like Spanish for the grave or the tomb, and I played with this group that's kind of like up and coming on the festival circuit. They just hired me for it. They were called Earth Arrow, or they are called Earth Arrow. I played with them. I'll probably end up playing with them some more. And our studio that we're at, Luigi, Willie, and I, and Marcelo, we call it Oogie Boogie Studio. We did Earth Arrow's first album. That was a couple years ago. And then I played in this little reggae group that I think is kind of on hiatus called Dino Bones, and let's see what else. It was I played with this group called Leche that does kind of like salsa music, but also kind of like sort of what I call like white boy funk, like a little bit. It's cool though.
Wild Cherry. Is that what they sound like?
It's like sort of like average white band or something.
So what's the place that the studio you were telling me about?
That's a thing. It's over in basically Boyle Heights. It's about a block away from Boyle, so it's like eastern downtown LA, I guess. It's over the 7th Street Bridge. There's a whole thing. Chris Poland, I think, actually owns the building. It's downtown rehearsal, they call it. And usually people just rent out a room.
No, I've been there. It's it's a huge building that looks
everyone
like,
in LA, is kind of run through it looks like a big fucking warehouse.
Mental hospital. That's what it looks like.
And then most people just use it for rehearsal spaces, but we decided to build the studio, but it took them years. I only got associated with them a few years ago. They've been doing this for like 10 years, building up this studio. And probably, at some point we'll have to move the location because Warner Brothers, I know, bought out that whole building.
Of course, they did everything. It's going to be like 2 companies going to own this entire country someday. Like Warner Brothers is going to be making like peanut shell protectors or something. It's just
really
insane.
Nuts, man. Like a lot of these areas that were designated as like arts district type areas and stuff are just getting real estate speculators rolling up in them, and just kind of making everything like the rent raised without warning overnight.
Isn't that place rent control or no? Like, no, it's not, because it's not.
Apparently not.
It's not. Because I guess nobody really lives there, but
right, it's not zoned for living purposes, although we all know a lot of musicians like to live at the studio.
So they're able to raise the rent at any whatever they want, huh?
I don't think they had to give you a lot of warning, and it's not Chris Poland's fault or anything. It's just I think it's
he owns it, but he probably has like business people running it. So
right, I mean, I'm not familiar with the complexities of the situation, but I'm sure they're there.
Are you guys trying to find clients then? Because you have your buddy Luigi in Latumba. He does like recording and engineering and stuff, mastering. Does he do that?
Mixing and mastering and recording, and
so you could probably get a hold of him through like Latumba's Facebook website.
Yeah, easily. And then there's an Oogie Boogie Studios Facebook page too. And I'm not on Instagram personally, but I think some of this stuff is on Instagram. I'm not sure.
You could have fooled me, bro. You look like an influencer.
An influencer. Yeah. That's a word, huh?
It's in the dictionary, probably.
It's an actual thing now.
I'm sure Merriam and Webster are rolling in their grave for all the shit that got into their beautiful
It's such
book.
a Scientology-sounding word. It's so creepy.
What? Oh,
influencers.
We shouldn't talk shit about them or like.
Yeah, let's be nice to Scientology.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of influencers.
There's a guy I would like to have on the show because I'll probably have an episode that talks about art department stuff and set dressing and decorating.
Oh, nice.
This friend of mine, because we do some crazy stuff sometimes, but this buddy of mine, Banner, and everybody loves this guy. He's such a guy.
His name's Banner?
His Banner, and they named a character after him on Blackish. Which is really badass if you're a crew member, and the writers literally named a character after him.
That's so cool.
The guy's not doesn't act like him, but they named a guy after him. But his folks were Scientologists, and they were married by L. Ron Hubbard's wife. And they used to go to these galas.
She just I shouldn't talk too much.
That's
right. They disappeared kind of, right?
I don't know. I'm saying nothing. I know nothing. So they got married by his wife, and they used to go to galas where he was there too, which is like, I feel like that's like, that must have been insane. Like that.
Yeah, man.
That must have
I kind of want to go to one of those.
Surreal. Yeah, but again, we'll move on. I don't even know how the hell it always comes to Scientology in LA.
Scientology is an important part of Los Angeles.
Yeah, and if you see a big blue building, that's them. And that weird.
It's like that baby blue kind of / sky blue kind of thing. It's like in between baby blue and sky blue.
And they always have those dudes in those crisp white Mormon shirts painting those buildings.
Yeah, man. And they fucking. I'm allowed to cuss on this shit, right?
We're not on the radio. Like I said, like my buddy said, my co-host Yard Dog, who's coming over tomorrow to make music, he said you can say anything, fuck, shit, cock, balls, and then I'll always, it just
Scientology.
seems, I always chime in and say just don't say the C word because it seems to offend people more than the other words, unless you're British.
Cunnilingus. Oh no, British people get a pass for sure on that.
You know.
Those guys will follow you, man, that are outside of the blue building. Like sometimes if you say something that they think is sort of like mocking, not that I did it, but I was walking with some guys that sort of said something like they thought something looked like shit in the architecture or something.
You said that?
No, that's not, one of my friends did, and they followed us around. And I was like, I'll bet you're only allowed to follow me so far before you have to go back. Well, I was like, let's see where that point is. And we reached the point. I mean, he like literally just turned back. He like completely stopped talking to me mid-sentence.
He showed you. He showed you, Gannon. Yeah, I've actually, and I'm not gonna give anything away again because. I don't want any enemies, so I'm not talking any trash about it. I'm just telling you what happened.
I know I'm friends with some cool Scientologists.
We filmed in the Celebrity Center, and that was interesting to be able to go inside. Have you ever been inside there?
No, I was scared to go in there.
Oh, why?
It's you're allowed to leave when you go in there?
Yeah, I hope. I mean, am I me or am I like a clone? That's why I don't want to talk about it because I'm not.
You're
like
some other kind of Thetan in Bobby's body.
I'm a sleeper cell. They're gonna say the magic word. It's gonna be Scientologist jazz is the keyword, and that's like my eyes will flip in my head and I'll just start fucking killing everyone. No, but we went in there and it's weird, and they're just and I'm just saying it as an outsider. It's a little weird. There's a weird vibe in there because I'm not part of that group, and there's a bunch of people in robes. Like
really?
That live there. It's like an apartment, and there was like people in robes, wow. And they were doing like exercise. And I'm not saying that's not weird to be in a robe, but it's just weird to see a bunch of people walking around in white
when
robes.
It's a bunch of people in robes, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, but they were doing they were at the gym. They had like a little private gym, and they were doing stuff. And then we went up to some apartment, and while we were dressing it, like we were putting furniture and stuff. Like, they could come in at will whenever they wanted to discuss things, and they would come in and they would open blueprints and talk about, like, what they were going to do in that room while we were there dressing it. And then they'd be like, well, that concludes this architectural meeting, and they'd leave. And it was weird, and I was like, are they, like, just checking up on us? Or they're just constantly, like, doing
You
business.
think they were like listening in or anything?
They could listen to whatever they want. We were just putting chairs and couches.
I think the whole thing's mic'd and cameraed up and stuff, right?
Just I don't know, and I don't care. I'm sure they're, because honestly, it's. I would never want to be involved in any shenanigans. I don't like the aspect of the. I'm not saying they do it, but I've seen videos, where they intimidate and they.
Yeah, man.
I don't think that I would want to be involved in a group that did that if you left.
You probably deal with enough of that shit anyway, doing a bunch of stuff in like the industry and
What do you mean?
With that whole intimidation.
For union stuff? I'll be honest. I haven't experienced any of it because I haven't been through any strikes yet, quote unquote. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
And I guess, there are meetings and I get calls like, you should be at the meeting because we're trying to get a quorum. And a quorum is where if you get enough people there that you can push some sort of legislation, you can at least make a note. Like, you can bring up like problems to the because we have a new president in our union. They voted a new guy in, and that's like, wow, that's a big deal. And they voted in a new business agent, which is a very big deal too, because those are like the key negotiators against the producers when we do our contracts. Because there's a big problem, and I can say this on this medium, with new media is like really underpaying a lot of people. And also, when they get union days, you're supposed to get 30 days on a show that flips or something like that. A flipping show in movie terms means the show was not union. They passed some sort of thing in their budget where they went over $1 million or something, and now they can become union.
Okay.
And then the unions will come in, they'll make the deal, and then if you were on that show and you're an art department person and you're trying to get in the union, if it flips, you start getting days. And if you work 30 days, you get in the union. But if you work on a Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, it only counts for new media. So you can only work union jobs in new media. You can't work on like WB, NBC features, that sucks. And then they got to pay.
That does suck.
And then I think they still got to pay. I paid $6,000 to join the 44 union.
Wow.
And now it's like 7,000. So you'll pay, I think, that amount of money, but you won't even. I have to double check. I think for new media, I think they pay the same amount, and they can only work in new media. So I think our new guys are trying to make it so that we're all.
You get like restricted to like you're bound to only do the.
So when I joined, I got in on a film called "Wish I Was." Oh, please don't let me say this wrong, and Zach Braff will come and kill me in my sleep.
He's scary.
Wish I Was Here. And it was a movie that he raised over $6 million on Kickstarter from his fans. Because he did Garden State, and he said, hey, I got another movie that I'm writing with my brother. And every time I take it to a movie studio, they want to take out a bunch of scenes that I feel are super key. So, hey, give me this money, and I'll produce something for you guys. And it's all my ideas. And so I got in on that film, and he created his own production company. I was asked to work on it, and I worked a couple days before it flipped, and then I got in. I got my union days, and then I had to pay
$6,000.
6,000, but at that time it was tax deductible. It is no longer tax deductible. It's no longer tax deductible for your federal taxes under the new tax regime. But according to people, my deduction is higher. So I didn't feel.
Which people?
People who are right leaning. I'm what you would call a libertarian.
Yeah, you seem a little libertarian. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I'm when it comes to politics, I'm very loose. Like I haven't picked any denomination. I'm registered as a Democrat because that's what I registered when I was 18. And most of the local elections are my jam.
Yeah, me too.
But the local elections are
the only thing I feel like I have an actual effect on, really.
Yeah, but I registered Democrat as when I was younger, even though I did vote sometimes Green Party, which now looking at things, I was broke and poor, so I voted Socialist. And now that I'm making some decent money, I kind of do a little bit more
That's good you're making decent money, man.
No shit. But it's at the same token, it's like I don't want to get taxed more now. So I don't want to do any legislation because I'm always like, man, they're misappropriating funds anyway. So that I kind of want the government to step out of some things.
People got to do their research when it comes to where a lot of this stuff goes.
They usually just get it from memes.
Because there are people that are for taxation as a concept, and there are people that are very avidly against it, just generally. But I don't think I had to just fall on one side of that in every given situation. Like, for example, California with the whole tobacco tax, singling out a particular industry disproportionately like that. I'm not, I don't see why that's a good idea or necessary.
Yeah, well, they claim, you say for tobacco, they claim that they tax it because people are smoking and that causes health risks, and then they say that we have to pay for those health risks.
Oh, they're hurting themselves.
But then, dude,
the secondhand smoke.
But it doesn't matter. The people are still buying cigarettes even at the exorbitant prices.
It doesn't make it any different.
Yeah, and especially what you're really hurting actually is the poor communities, because a lot of poor communities
they're still gonna buy their cigarettes.
They smoke cost them more. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
So something I might do is I might rig up another microphone, and maybe we'll do a jam.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So we'll be right back after these messages. And, we're here with Gannon Wise.
Yeah, I might have a shot or something, huh?
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna today's beverage of choice is the Yellow Spot Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
Wonderful Irish whiskey that is
very Irish,
a staple of Ireland. I definitely recommend picking up a bottle and not declaring it. But I'll say this actually before we go to commercial break about Ireland, that actually liquor there is more expensive. Even if you buy liquor that is made in Ireland,
yeah, right,
it's more expensive because they have like a liquor tax, a sin tax.
Which
not like grammatical sin tax. It's like I do bad things tax.
A vice tax.
Yeah, because I actually bought some stuff that I thought was exclusive to their Bushmills 16 year, and it's not, and it's cheaper in the States. So I felt like I got but it was still worth it because I got it at the distillery, and that was really fun. And I did bring back a bunch of exclusive bottles.
That's fucking cool, man. I like Bushmills.
Bushmills is actually, I like Jameson's regular Jameson whiskey over the Bushmills Red Label or whatever, the Red Bush.
Oh, like the fancy.
Well, the Red Bush I don't think is the fancy. I think that's their like.
I've had like the Black Bush and then that like 10-year one.
Yeah, but the 16 is something.
16
Have you had that?
No,
it's something.
That
dude.
Sounds really good.
It's so when you do the 16, we've just taken this to a tasting corner. Give me a little jazz riff before. Welcome to the tasting corner. We're talking about Irish whiskey with Witewolf and Gannon Wise. So the Bushmill 16 is when you take a sip and you'll notice an immediate smoothness. You'll get like a whiskey hint and then a super smoothness. So then you're almost like, oh shit, like, is this worth it?
Like it tricks you kind of?
Well, he said, is this worth the price? It's like, it's very smooth. So that's like, some might think it's not complex. But then right as you're thinking that, 3 seconds later,
oh, fuck yeah,
a poof of flavor.
That's awesome.
It just tickles the back of your throat.
So perfect.
Yeah, so it's one of the coolest whiskeys I've ever drank, and you can get it in America for a reasonable price, like $70 to $80, I think, which is a lot of money for a drink, but for that beverage, it's one of the best whiskeys I've had.
And it's right in the back of your throat when it hits you.
Oh, it goes poof. It does this.
I would have the best blowjobs.
So I do recommend that if you're a whiskey lover, and anyways. We'll be back right after a word from our sponsor, which is not any of those whiskeys. I'm just recommending them because if they don't agree with anything that I've said on this show, they'll come after me, and then maybe that's a good thing because then I'll end up on like social media.
On the news.
Yeah. All right.
Do you live in Los Angeles? Are you tired of seeing that van in Hollywood for the topless maids while thinking, hey, that's sexist. There should be a sexy service for dirty women too. Well, you're in luck thanks to Bottomless Butlers. Our butlers have been curated from only the most desirable chiseled selection of males in the world by our very own head butler and cultural concierge. There are only the finest specimens, and your jaw will simply drop. You'll be saying things like, hey, clean over there, and hey, don't look at me, look at what you're cleaning, or hey, have you ever dusted that basket of yours? So get your Bottomless Butler today.
Oh, you wanted to talk about the whiskey, huh?
And bring us back, fool, from the commercial. Play take 5, monkey boy.
All right.
We're back from our little hiatus. So we went out and I gave Gannon a little sample of some stuff I brought back from Ireland. So what I gave him, what he chose, it was not
amazing country.
It was not Yellow Spot. We did the Tyrconnell 15-year, aged in 3 casks. One of them
Madeira, right?
Madeira wine cask. It's a complex, very strong whiskey, but very delicious.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of like things. So
it
talk
goes
about
through
it.
Different phases in your mouth. You know, it's like Starts out kind of like that green apple Jolly Rancher sort of taste.
What are you talking?
But like the high end of that taste,
Okay.
not the whole sugary part.
Are you sure you didn't get into the apple teeny whiskey?
But then it like explodes into all this other stuff, man. Like
Yeah.
sort of some of it's like smoky, like a Scotch, but it's got that whole Irish like fruity
finish.
peatiness. Yeah.
Oh, it
when
doesn't have
goes
peatiness. I'll say that. It's not very peaty. It's not like Lefroy. Then I also gave you some Irish gin.
Yeah, that was really lovely.
Yeah, so the Irish gin that I let Gannon try, which I also brought back, obviously, from Ireland, if it's Irish gin. From Galway, Ireland, is Mickle Gin. It's Micil. They're known for their Poitin. Is that what is? Am I?
Poitin?
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. No, it's a type of liquor, type of booze.
Really?
But they made this gin. It's found only in Galway. So when I went there, apparently all of Ireland is now on a big gin kick. And when I was sitting at the bar in Galway, there's a badass guitar player playing, and I said, "Dude, I've been seeing that Galway gin company. I want to try it." And he goes, "Oh, you don't want to try that, mate." You know? He's like, "You don't want to? You don't want to try that. You don't want to try that. It's bullshit." He says, "It's all marketing."
Don't try it new.
He goes, he said it's not made in Galway. Even though it says Galway Gin Company, it's a fucking lie. And I said, well, since I'm in Galway, is there...
Yeah.
I said, well, how many gins do you have? And he goes, we have 40. And I was like, I didn't even know they made 40 gins.
I've had maybe around 30.
You've had 30 gins?
Not of theirs.
Yeah, so he goes, I said, well, can you just recommend something? He goes, I got you. And he gave me On the Rocks, one, single of that Mickle gin, and then he brought the bottle for me to look at, and he goes, this is my favorite gin of all time. And then I tried it, and it was my favorite gin of all time. It is some weird characteristic on the back end.
I think it's the best gin I've ever had.
Yeah, and I used to hate gin. You know when I hated gin because I made a gin and juice thinking it'd be cool, and it
Thinking you were Snoop Dogg?
It tasted like shit. And then I actually added some Chambord, and it actually made it nice. And then I was like, okay, this is okay. But then I tried
evened it out a little.
I tried Beefeater, and I hated it. I tried Sapphire, and I hated it. And then my buddy...
You hated Sapphire?
I didn't like it. And then my buddy gave me Hendrix. I like to drink things straight,
Hendrix, I think, is weaker than...
It is weak. Well, it's smooth. So I like that. It was a good transitionary one. Then my friend introduced me to one called Nolet's, which is it's a green bottle. It's very nice gin. And then when I went to Ireland, that happened, and then I brought that bottle back. And you can't get it out here. Micil, Mickle Gin. I actually should call one of those boutique shop like Mel and Roses. Have you ever heard of that place?
No, is that on Melrose?
Yeah. It's by Beverly Center. And it's the place that I bought my first bottle of Japanese whiskey, which was the Yamas.
I love Japanese whiskey.
It's
man.
wonderful. This was in 2015. I read about one called the Yamazaki, and because they had won the #1 whiskey in the world in 2013 with their cask sherry whiskey.
Oh, shit.
And I was looking for that, and it was gone because they only made a certain amount. It was gone.
Had that.
Well, yeah, but that was the first year that Scotch or Scotland didn't have a whiskey, not even in the top 4 or something like that. So #1 was this Yamazaki, and then it's
like Rising Sun. Sean Connery's, worried about the Japanese taking over. Don't you fuck with me.
Yeah, it was exactly like that. When I fucking bought that bottle, it was on the west side by Beverly Hills, so Sean Connery was there, and he was like, he shook his head. He shot me, and then he hit me in the head with a shillelagh. No, even though he's that's a Scottish thing, right? No, that's Irish.
I think that's,
Oh well, yeah, fuck it. They'll both Ireland and Scotland
hit you with a bratwurst.
A golf club is what he hit me with a golf club. So I bought the Yamazaki. The next best thing in my price range was the Yamazaki 12-year, and at that time that was the most expensive bottle I bought. It was $70. But I also bought an 18-year. Right
really?
After, immediately at the same purchase, and I said, okay, I'm gonna get both.
That was more money, wasn't it?
It was a $1.90.
Wow. Yeah.
That was the
good
most
stuff.
I'd ever spent on booze in my life. So I had that for a long time, and I shared it with like, schmoozy people like ADs, directors. Like I'd bring it to set, and I'd be like, yeah, I know we're not allowed to drink on set, but I brought this 18-year Yamazaki, and they're like, ooh. So we'd have a sip. But that is now, the Yamazaki 12-year is $150. It's
Really?
doubled in price. And the 18-year, I've seen it between $350 at Melon Roses, and I saw it for $650
Jesus. Well, that's
in Glendale. For some reason, it's
was that at that
the Hammer or whatever that one.
Oh,
was.
Hammered.
Yeah.
That place used to be. Yeah.
It's something else now, right?
Yeah, but that was the best name for a liquor store. Hammered Liquor.
Yeah. So, but I saw it at the one that is there now. I saw it for $600,
Really?
and I was like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have drank that." But then I was like, "Well, why not?" I hadn't, and what is now a really sought after bottle because they don't.
Wow.
But yeah,
That Remedy Liquor on Glen Oaks has a lot of Irish whiskeys, and it has a lot of Japanese whiskeys and stuff.
But the Japanese whiskey is now, it's like everything we were talking about, like weddings, planning, and bands, like when you go play in Hollywood. All these people have their hands out with asking for money. They the Japanese whiskeys are overpriced. I mean, there's some that
They're
are
way overpriced, dude.
Yeah, well, because they're popular now, and
Yeah.
and people are drinking it faster than they can make it.
Yeah, it's not even as good as like Scotch or for me.
For me, it's very much like a lowland Scotch that it's not peaty.
It's
it
got
has
a little bit of a
smooth-
bourbonness.
It has a sweetness to it, and actually, so Suntory was the big company that was
Yeah.
responsible for all those.
I made the Toki and
Well, they were bought out by an American company, from what I read. I mean, so now like Budweiser owns them or something.
like Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. Who's owned by the Belgians, so that's, we'll see what they do. Yeah. My buddy made a lot of money on that.
Really?
On that stock when they sold to Stella, because it did good things for them, actually. Oh, so we have our musical instruments out. I think we're gonna play a little tune. Let me just make sure this mic is actually in a good place for me, because okay. Oh yeah. Is there an intro to this song?
Fuck, I had to hear it again. It's like la 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 la. But it's like, yeah. No. Yeah.
So is it just comes like
it's
this?
like,
Why don't we just do whatever we want? Here, this is called an arrange. We're gonna arrange it. Do you want a different patch?
No, I'm cool. It'll just like, it'll sound kind of interesting.
Oh,
You know?
is that what we're going for? So, how about I'll start this thing off,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna bring this. We're gonna go classical on this, not classical playing, but. La 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 Now that I've lost everything to you, say you wanna start something new, and it's breaking my heart you're leaving. Baby, I'm grieving, but if you wanna leave, take care. Hope you got a lot of nice things to wear, but then a lot of nice things turn bad out there. Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Hard to get by on just a smile, girl. Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. always remember you like a child, girl. You know I've seen a lot of what the world can do. It's breaking my heart in two. Don't ever wanna see you sad, girl. Don't be a bad girl. But if you wanna leave, take care. Hope you got a lot of nice friends out there. But just remember there's a lot of bad beware. Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Hard to get by on just a smile, girl. Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild girl. I always remember you like a child, girl.
That's pretty good.
It was all right for fooling around. No rehearsal. I heard some like little crackling. Was that? Did you hear
Was
crackling?
it peaking a little bit?
No, it shouldn't be. I mean,
Oh, there it is. On the high ones.
yeah. Well, hold on a second.
That one's cool.
Maybe I can turn down a little something. That's a
That's
little better.
okay. It's right in this range. There, now it's gone.
I took it down a notch.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, that was a little. That was cool. Let me just move this away a little bit. Let's get my little stuff in order. So now I wanted to talk about a couple things. You know, you have quite the presence on social media.
Just on Facebook, right?
Yeah. Well, didn't you say that there's a group that monitors what you say?
Oh, I found that out. Like every now and then people like to Google their own name just for the fuck of it, or to Yahoo search it, or use whichever search engine. You know.
That actually brings us up really quick. So continue. What
I
you're saying.
found like a thing where it was like if you Google Gannon Wise, you know, there's these things these sites that start popping up that they're basically taking like quotations from like Facebook status updates of mine, and they're putting them on these like these like quotation sites or something. I started like looking into it more, and it just was very repetitive, you know. And I think like I figured out there's certain stuff I'm saying that's like there are like trigger words in it that it just makes like a little robot kind of monitor you. It's not like real people monitoring you, but it's like a little algorithm, you know, kind of monitoring certain stuff that you say that's like a trigger. Yeah, like we'll get to that in a second. You brought me up to like another point. One point exactly would be that I like to look up names on Urban Dictionary, and I like to see what people write about it. Shit. It's not as bad as you think, actually. For Gannon? Yeah, actually, the very first one says he's the most amazing guy. He's loving and caring. I did this. Everyone wants to be his friend or more. Winky smiley face. Oh, nice. Because he's amazing. He's so modest and hot as hell. He could get any girl. You know that somebody. This is not what this is actually saying, is it? I shit you not. This is not. This is on Webster's dictionary. This is on Urban Dictionary. But the reason I like this is because I actually looked up St. Francis, and in St. Francis, I think the top one says, "Only ugly boys go there." Yeah.
It was only ugly boys go there. The really good-looking guys go to Pasadena Poly.
Really?
I don't. Apparently, they're rich there. Or something
I better start going there. Right?
But you know that like some girl got her heart broken by some St. Francis football player, so she immediately went on.
Player.
She immediately went on to bash us on the Urban Dictionary. So I love going down because eventually.
I like that first Gannon.
Yeah, well,
nice.
you should get that on a coffee mug. You can. Every one of these you can get on a coffee mug. So Gannon, displaying the face of your hand in front of you in a wide-set, confident manner, alluding to the five-finger blessing of underline the rich Gannon.
What? Rich Gannon from the Raiders. That's what they're referencing there.
Rich Gannon. Unusually amazing individual who could be a lady killer if he knew where to find the kick-ass ladies. Spelled Ladyz.
They're all in Atwater Village.
Yeah. Gannon, the pirate ninjas that enjoy the following: speaking Spanglish.
Really? That's sort
the word
accurate.
Tortuga may be thrown around often. Sarcasm, being completely BA, dominating, being witty and hilarious.
What's BA?
I don't know. Business administration.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Bachelor of Arts. What is that?
How about this is my favorite one of yours? A subgenus of douchebag prone to creating wacky UrbanDictionary.com entries, defining their own surname with unimaginative adjectives such as studly and witty. Distinguishing
Some asshole named Gannon wrote this one.
Distinguishing marks include wacky ties, tendency towards jokes based on advertising slogans. That's my favorite one. That's the coffee mug one for me. A person who has very strong hobbit traits.
Hobbit traits. That makes more sense.
Well, dude, that's that girl Carly calls you Gandalf. Gannon. You look like a Gandalf. I look
sort of like Gandalf.
When we did that one show, you came straight from Kung Fu and you just put a suit jacket on, and it was pretty badass. I was like, this motherfucker has style, and I don't.
I look like an older Gandalf.
How is that possible? So usually, how about this? A person who has very strong hobbit traits usually found in little caves and caverns in the Craig County
in
area.
the San Fernando Valley.
A person who has enlarged buttocks area, commonly referred to them as a J-Lo or ghetto ass.
Really?
Which is really weird because you have a profile picture where it says "whatever, honey."
Oh, that's right. Just because you, Mike made that. My friend Mike.
You just
don't hate just because you ain't got a jigabooty that's fruity and tooty.
So this is
and then there's this shot of Dave Chappelle's face and he's saying LOL or something. Yeah, I don't know. That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Hey, you look like Gannon. That must be a Gannon hobbit. Dude, I love
looking like Gannon and shit.
Should I look up Bobby or Robert? Because what's my
what do you identify more strenuously with?
Bobby is my name. Even though I'm Witewolf on here, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to make my
Witewolf will
without
be
an H. Without an H.
Yeah.
Bobby is an insane, funny person who's nice and caring. But if you annoy him and his friends, you should hope you live near a hospital.
Oh, really? He'll fuck you up.
Oh, yeah, apparently.
Just for annoying him and his friends.
Bobby's an amazing person who will always fight for what he loves. He's passionate and sweet. He loves animals and children.
And walks on the beach.
He's a man's man, usually a mechanic or an outdoorsman. He could fix just about anything.
That's true of you.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what can I say? This sounds like something I would. How about this? Like, Ethel, dang, that Bobby
Ethel.
just fixed my. This is a person.
Ethel's saying this.
This is using it in a sentence. Ethel, dang, that Bobby just fixed my car, punched a rhino, and cooked an awesome dinner for 50 people in one day. What a beast. I wish he was mine. Betty says, too bad. Because I called first dibs. Cat fight ensues.
That sounds good. That's a positive description.
How about Bobby, a guy who shows up late to class every time?
That is kind of positive, too.
Is it?
I mean, fuck class. I don't have any.
Bobby has a very big penis, is great in bed. No need for an example for the name Bobby. That's number 6 on the list.
Wow.
Trying to get that.
These are just all dudes named Gannon and Bobby that wrote all these.
I'm sure but I love the bad ones. How about Bobby, a man whose dick is so large when inserted into your vagina it exits your mouth at the same time? Bobby's so funny and cute. I wish he liked me.
What's the sentence for the giant dick one?
There's
no sentence?
Stacy, man, Bobby's dick is so big he came on my face last night while fucking me from behind. I'm going to have to edit this a little bit because my girl's family is very Christian. I'm not saying I'm not.
They listen to this?
They will. As soon as I start talking about this, it'll probably show up in Christmas time. Somebody will hold it over my head. I love you guys.
They can't have a big problem with you having a big penis, dude.
I'm just, first of all, Urban Dictionary says that, that's what it's just Urban Dictionary. So let's go to dig deep into your Facebook. Actually, the last one you just wrote was a real. I just would like to get some insight on this.
Oh, yeah.
The Kentucky Derby is on. God, you should see the cock on this one horse. Do you remember which horse it was?
No, I didn't even watch the Derby, but I that's always what I think of when I hear about like horse racing. It's like, just these horses tripping on their dicks.
So I'm gonna say a positive.
I think the idea of a horse penis is very amusing.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you about the. I'm gonna say this because I'm gonna show you're also very wholesome. You're not just all about horse cocks.
I've got a lot of principles, man.
If you give me $1 billion, I promise to give like 950 million of it to other people, and I know you would.
Actually, 50 million's nice to keep.
Is it really Happy International Sexual Experimentation Day yesterday?
No, well, for me, I don't know. I think every day should be some kind of a weird sexual day. There's like, there's basic ones like Oral Sex Day, and
I'm trying to find this one that I remember. One of them I remember off the top of my head is like tonight I'm running my pussy clinic in the alley behind Arby's.
Pussy eating seminar, yeah. Behind the Arby's, yeah.
Did anybody?
We have the meats.
Did anybody show up to that?
It's a rough business, man. There's no love at all. Nobody wants to support your dreams. It's like being a musician.
You lived in LA your whole life. You just figured that out. Now, was May 1st Happy International Oral Sex Day?
I hope so.
Oh,
I think any day's an excuse. Excuse.
Yeah,
there's the Wolverine.
That's my favorite picture of you. My buddy Mike, who doesn't even know you, he loves that picture too. A picture of Wolverine staring lovingly and rubbing Gannon's picture. Wolverine from the 90s animated X-Men, arguably the best representation of the X-Men ever.
Oh, there's one of my fucking long-ass ones. Yeah. That's just annoying.
What's annoying?
My long...
That's annoying, or what you're talking about is annoying?
No, my long ass stuff is annoying.
He basically says that anybody posting spoilers, it's not that big of a deal. I'm only mad for people who haven't seen it. It's like really messed up. It's like sociopathic to want to go and trash.
To want to do it. I don't understand the motivation to do it just to do it.
It's just having power. It's when you don't have power.
It's like you're a little bitch and you need to go on a little power trip.
You talk shit about Kevin and Bean.
I don't like those guys, man.
You talk shit. Blast the vegans.
Here's what's funny. I went to high school. Well, it's not that funny. Like Kevin and Bean, there was a kid I went to high school with. I don't want to name his name, but like he ended up on the Kevin and Bean show as some kind of like a regular character. They gave him a name. I don't even want to repeat that name, but the whole thing was all about just trashing him and like bringing him on and interviewing him and making fun of what a loser, they perceive him to be.
Kevin and Bean did that?
Yeah, and they were like, they'd ask him smart alecky questions like, "Hey, you got a girlfriend?" that kind of shit, And they were just totally like clowning him. And he was actually like kind of a guy that was fucked up in the head, And they need to do stuff to people like that, man. Like, they already have enough problems. Like, it's just like that high school sort of mentality.
What does todo hablando de herpes tengo hambre mean? I don't know if you noticed in my perfect Spanish accent that I already know what it means.
It's all this talk about herpes is making me hungry. Basically.
Why'd you write that? What was your motivation? I know. Where did it come from?
Because earlier I wrote it in Tagalog.
Oh, because of Coachella herpes?
Yeah, well, somebody did a thing, like posted a thing about that whole article, and it just made me hungry.
Is it true, or is it some conspiracy cooked up by the Puritans who are not happy about like sexual Coachella?
I don't know.
There was a fake
I had to
thing.
ask Alex Jones, man.
There was a fake article that came out from Burning Man a couple years ago that claimed these bugs were getting on people's tires and ruining.
Really?
Yeah, and like when I saw it, I was like, of course there's some bug that's like the devil that's out there, and apparently it was all like made up to maybe make people not go to Burning Man because like a bunch of assholes were going there and ruining it as usual. Anytime and all the assholes find out the cool thing, they go and they literally trash it.
I heard that thing used to be pretty cool.
Is it not cool? I haven't been. I've always wanted
really
to go.
Went, you know.
It's they have all these guys.
Everyone else in Latumba's gone, but I haven't been there.
There's all these guys on an art department in the field that I work in, and there's one guy's
that makes sense, man.
Yeah, they made a pirate ship out of a big like RV or something, and they drove it like a ship. They drove it to Burning Man.
Did they get pulled over?
They should have. Do you have a ship license, like a boat, the captain's license to drive this thing?
Yeah, a skipper's license.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah. Shit. What I was gonna do something.
Oh, you were gonna look up more Bobby definition.
No, dick face. That's
another name for Bobby.
Yeah, he's a dumb dick face idiot. He's a professional idiot. I wanted to actually talk about a bit of Latumba. So tell us about how did you guys meet? When did you guys meet?
I met Luigi. His name's Luis. He calls himself Luigi, and he spells it with a Y, which is, very cute and creative of him. I met him at the Gold Room, which used to be a really cool place in Echo Park. I met him like 7 years ago, I think, or 7, and we were both there every night drinking. And getting into all the trouble that you used to be able to get into there, but they changed it into this sort of like beer wine bar, sort of a Silver Lakey looking.
Oh yeah, dude, I've actually been there. It's like when you walk in, you expect to walk into like, I don't know, like those weird burgundy seats like everywhere. Yeah, and it used to be that way. And now it literally looks like a snooty Vegas vodka bar.
Yeah, dude, it's like depressing.
It's really sad.
And there used to be a really cool community there, and a lot of artists, and a lot of different kinds of people, from different walks and stuff.
So, is there a definitive song that you're really proud of in their collection that you want people to look up? And actually,
the Gold Room Jukebox. No, in Latumba.
Yeah,
there's a song called. It's spelled just like the English word massacre. It's called Massacre.
I'm actually going to play it now if you want. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go for it, man.
So this is Latumba Massacre.
Yeah.
All right. So hold on. So I'm going to...
Dude, this is awesome.
How many people are in your band?
It depends, but usually about 9, sometimes 11, sometimes 8.
Now since this stuff is discoverable on YouTube, there's most of these are instrumental, if not all of them. But they have since added a singer.
Yeah, we're probably gonna redo everything.
They should, because from what I heard the other night, the other singer didn't show up until you had Luis perform duties.
Yeah.
That was Latumba Massacre.
Yeah.
So tell us about the other members of your band. So tell us the instruments. We got, who's the main singer, and he does percussion as well.
Yeah, I guess Marcelo, he plays he plays like kind of this eccentric little percussion rig that we sort of threw together. It's got like granite blocks and cowbells and like a little tiny timbal and like then a couple of...
What's his name?
Marcelo, and he I think his last name's Pereira.
Who are the founding members? Was he one of the founding?
I guess he would be, and he sings a lot and shouts inappropriate stuff and dresses in like a wrestler mask and shit. And then Luis Torres is his name. He calls himself Luigi. He's probably really sort of the leader of it, the guy that was sort of the assembler of everyone. And he plays guitar. And then there's Willie Reaño. He's the bass player.
The big dude.
No, he's sort of a little guy. But he's
he looked big from far away. I was at the end of the bar the other night. They just played at the 5-star
Yeah, it was
club
a 5-star
downtown.
Yeah.
It was also on that night that I tried Lime scooters for the first time. There is no weight limit, but I mean it did slow down quite a bit when I started going up a hill. It was good though and cheap. I actually like that thing. But apparently, so just so y'all know, you have to show your driver's license,
Yeah.
and it says you can't be driving them drunk. So watch out. I mean, I'm sure that we'll start hearing about people getting DUIs.
They'll pull you over on it, yeah.
So don't, even though I was downtown, I didn't really have a lot to drink. I had like a beer, and then I drove over on this scooter to Casey's to see my other friend's band.
Yeah.
So
how was that at Casey's?
this girl Loa, man, she sings, man.
Really?
She has some serious like rock voice, man.
I
she
miss
plays
that,
bass.
man. I don't hear enough of that anymore.
Dude, she has it. And like we play in a country band together. This girl Tracy Jane, who I haven't talked to her for a minute. We've been I've said no too many times because he always has like Friday gigs, and then I work, and I never know when I'm going to get off from when I work. So, anyways, I'm taking this and hijacking the fucking. We're talking about Latumba. So
that's fine.
I know Luigi is. You said he's like the kind of the leader, the real leader, the
I would
wrangler.
say so.
And then Wheelie. I like that you call him Wheelie.
Willie. I'm just used to hearing his name said like that. Yeah, like
the drummer. What about
well,
the
like
drummer?
other people I know, I call them Willie.
Yeah. But not him. He's Wheelie.
But I'm just used to him being Willie.
What about the drummer? So is it somebody who rotates?
So that was a guy. We've been through so many fucking drummers, man. That was a guy named Matt Bex. I give major props to that guy. He's a great drummer. He played on tour. He toured with 30 Seconds to Mars for a while back when they were like, like a big deal. When it was the whole kind of screamo thing was
Kennedy. The dude who
The
could really
fucking,
sing. Oh no, it's the dude, the Joker.
No,
Jared
like
Leto.
Jared Leto, yeah.
Leto or Leto?
Yeah, or Leto, Jared Leto. Yeah, I don't know.
Aren't we professionals?
I mean, no one's paying me to pronounce the guy's name.
I thought the 30 Seconds to Mars was that Kennedy guy from Alter Bridge.
That was the drummer. Now we've actually got a guy who I think is really enthusiastic about the project, probably more so than we are, because Luigi and I think honestly are more. Our head is more in the studio, But this guy Hector, he's an awesome drummer. He sounds really great with us, and he's so enthusiastic about it that he's actually trying to like push it to like another level and shit. So we're gonna stick with him, man.
So how long have you been playing piano, man?
Oh, since I was 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since even before I met you, man.
Yeah. Tell everybody how long we've known each other.
I've known Bobby since I was 6. I just turned 6.
Yeah.
You were like an older 6.
I guess I was very mature. I was always very extremely mature.
He was a lot taller than I was always.
And tallness means maturity. Always. 100% of the time. But I always remember when he played the entertainer as a child, that blew me away.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
He was so good at that, and I was like, this kid's going places. You were taking lessons at a young age.
Yeah.
Did you pick piano, or was that your folks?
I did. Because I knew how to read, and I saw at the school we went to, there was a flyer that said piano lessons. I knew how to read it, and so I took it home and showed it to my parents. I was like, can I do this? And they were actually excited because it was like, I think they probably figured they were going to have to ask me to do some shit like that, or try to get me into it. And they were excited that I was just into it.
So you were learning like...
They would play these cassettes, in the little van that we were in, and they'd have like Mozart pieces, like his Turkish March. That
You like Mozart?
Not really, but that was my favorite song when I was 5.
Really?
Yeah, and so
dude, I love Mozart and Bach.
I love his Requiem, which was unfinished.
And Beethoven, like.
Beethoven's like, yeah,
he's the metal guy
on a different level.
He's heavy metal, and I love But so you started with classical training. So where did your shifts? Where was your first big shift in music? Like where was something that you remember changing your direction?
It's okay. Like I had one teacher, and then I got with another teacher who was this guy who was a concert piano player named Andrew Banks. I think he still plays, and he got me hooked up with this opportunity where if I played this piece in an audition for these people, and I remember it was in Pasadena, basically if I scored high enough on it, according to the judges, I would get like a scholarship to go to the Royal Academy of Music in London, and I scored high enough. I scored really high, and then my parents and we didn't really want to go to London. So I kind of figured then, okay, cool. I'm onto something here. So that was like a confidence that I got. That sort of shifted things for me. But then I changed teachers again, and I got with a guy named David Goldstein, who's like this jazz session player guy, and he was the first one to really teach me all the like kind of structure of theory and like composing stuff. Not all of it, of course, but I mean,
I don't think there's an end.
He gave me
music.
He
is
gave
like
me a real
infinite.
nice, solid introduction to it.
Yeah,
I'll always be grateful to him for that.
You know where like a couple things like for me
that changed a lot for me. But then I started teaching myself, and that's where it really changed.
Yeah, for me, doing all those scales vocally with Mrs. Laszlo.
Yeah, remember Agnes, Miss
Sure.
Agnes?
Yeah,
Laszlo's wife. Yeah, her last name was Nutzer. They were Hungarian.
Yeah, so
They'd teach you with like bar talk and stuff. It was cool.
Bar talk. But I just remember we would go. Hold on, where's my guitar pick? This helped me just because it was in my head, and I did have a piano in the house, and that helped me too. And she would run through the chords, and then we would do do re mi fa sol la ti do do ti la so fa mi re do bum bum. So the major scale was in my head, and the major scale, like especially when you're starting with all white keys, to C to C. This is a lesson that I've been teaching a lot of people, like that are asking me for advice. I say when I started learning about modes, it made it so easy because it was already in my head. So like the music theory starts at the C scale because there's no sharps. It's easy. It's easier to teach
because of the whole circle of fifths way that they organize it.
Yeah, but it
works perfectly in with the structure of the piano.
Yeah, with the structure of the piano. You can see it clearly. You can see the 7 notes or the 8 notes that you're going to play, and then you can shift and do a different mode. And then for those of you who don't know, who want to know, modes are basically in Western music. They were created. Well, they say Western music, but it was created by the Greeks. The system, right? Correct?
Yeah.
There's the major scale, which they called Ionian, which sounds like something that you'd find in Glendale. So the major scale is basically happy. Give me some major scale. Give me Happy Birthday if you know it.
Okay.
So we're happy. We're having a good time. You know, Agnes has turned 50, and we're singing to her. You know, so now give me a minor. Give me a funeral song, some type of sad, like.
Okay, let's
give me
see.
Amazing Grace. Is that a minor? No.
So we'd be like. Right.
Yeah, the Death March. Yeah. So they created within the C scale. You play literally the C scale, but you start at a different position, and that was how they formed the minor scale. So you could play the same scale. Yeah. But you just start at a different place, and that's how they mathematically proved the minor scale. And if you're reading music and sheet music, all of your keys, like when you're starting, they're all major. They'll be written in a major scale. There is no quote unquote minor scale key signature. They'll just write, if it's A minor, they'll
write it C major.
Yeah, it'll be all white keys.
Yeah.
So this is just dropping some knowledge to any music folks.
Or if it's like E minor, they'll write it like it's G major. Like
because E minor is the relative minor of G. And if you're on guitar, when I was first learning guitar, I noticed that if I was doing E major, that the minor was 1.5 steps down or 3 frets down. So if I had an E major, the relative minor was like 1.5 steps down. And
it would be like a C sharp.
C sharp minor.
Or D flat.
Or D flat.
We'd call it C sharp, I guess, in this context.
Yeah, and then I could solo.
in C sharp minor over. Play me an E major chord. And I knew that I could play. Like I could do it, make it kind of country.
Yeah.
I could do a lot of different things, and I figured that out just on pattern alone, you know. And then once I started really delving into the theory stuff, it really opened my playing up, and so yeah.
It must be so interesting on a guitar because you guys get to just take a shape and move it up, and it transposes it automatically.
Yeah, but again, you can see it.
Yeah, it's like a straight line of pitches.
Yeah.
You guys have this weird sort of spirally thing.
I'll say this for piano that's a frustrating is if a guitar player says we're a half step down and now you're in E flat or something.
Yeah.
And it's like now you got to throw all these little extra things, and then if you
And they just tune down a half step, and everything you do is on black keys. Or a lot of people find that trickier on piano.
The shapes, like with guitar, it's like way easier to learn like one concept, and you can apply it all up and down the neck.
Yeah.
But we are limited a lot more than I see. Like piano is like a complete concert instrument. You can write symphonies on a piano.
Yeah.
And at least all the parts or whatever. Anyways, like we were talking about something like a Latumba. We keep getting off track
because we love music. Man.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I love talking about it. So you grew up in Los Angeles, huh?
Yeah.
With me.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about, since, you know, I've been trying to gear this towards I'm not trying to make it that like, oh, LA's better than everybody. I grew up in LA. This is an LA centered show, and I want to talk about like things that I love here. And you know, there's things I hate like traffic, but why don't you talk about some of your favorite aspects of Los Angeles?
I think Los Angeles has every kind of person in it. That's really kind of my favorite thing about it. It's every kind of neighborhood, every kind of person, every kind of subculture. It's you know, there's a lot of people that are douchebags. A lot of them are not originally from LA. I've noticed
transplants.
You know,
yeah, definitely. If you come here, don't try not to act like the way you think we act.
Right, because that's what fucking produces that.
Just act like yourself, you know. Well, what are some of your favorite food spots?
Oh, I love a lot of like taco trucks and birria places. I love that birria Gonzalez. I love the there's a place in Echo Park that I think is whack. It's Tacos Mexico #2, but the #1 is on Broadway and 9th in downtown.
Yeah.
I love that place.
There was a guy.
Montrose is like this fucking gauntlet of just like tempting food options everywhere, right? I mean, you know.
Yeah, they have this seasoning.
I don't know where
alley.
to start naming it there. You know,
they have the Black Cow, which has the Monte Cristo that'll to die for, and then they have the other one, Star Cafe, which has these little warm bread balls that are just out of control. What I was gonna say was. Holy crap! It was something. What did you say before you
Tacos Leo?
So I was watching
Temple in Glendale.
Ugly Delicious. You ever heard of that? It's on Netflix.
No.
So there's a guy named David Chang, and he has this place called Momofuku in New York, and he opened this other restaurant out here that me and my friends went to for his birthday, and we ordered like this $150 like ribeye thing that's like aged smoked 24 hours, and there's like. So David Chang has this documentary talking about, because he loves fusion, but what he does is he talks extensively kind of about like Mexican food. And then he says, what makes it Mexican food? And what if I add this? And the old traditional folks will be like, oh, no, we never add this. Yeah. And something that he said on the show was al pastor is...
It comes from an Arabic root. That's where the al is.
And they brought that like flatbread notion for like they brought that idea, and I would love it because I was like, oh, I love al pastor.
Isn't that fucking cool?
Yeah. Then I talked to somebody else, and then somebody else said, that's not true, and I said, I think it is. I mean, but I have to do more research.
Yeah, it's totally true.
It's totally true. But somebody was correcting me, and I think it was a Mexican person, and I was like, whatever, dude. You know. But he took Jonathan Gold to Tacos Arabis, because it's Arabis for
Wow.
and it's a truck and
Where's
it's
that
on
at?
Olympic and I'm gonna it's like you could look
Is
it
it
up.
like in K-Town or?
No, I gotta look it up. It's closer to like kind of 9th, like Olympic and 9th, like by the Staples Center or something.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to go to that truck and
Wow.
check it out, but my favorite Mexican is a street taco joint called El Sal's. It's very much similar to the taco trucks of the 90s.
The one on San Fernando?
That's like one of my favorite places. And then and they're really good at they have great tacos. I love their burritos. They have good tortas.
Yeah.
But then they're in quesadillas as well. But there's a place also called El Tap, which like everybody goes to like late at night. And El Tap has delicious sopes. And
Really?
they also have pretty rad tortas as well. So the El
Fuck
Tap is a really fun place.
My
And then,
favorite food is all Mexican food.
have you been to Cacao in Eagle Rock?
No, man.
So this, and again, these are all just recommendations to anybody's listening as well for LA. Like, so Cacao is more fancy gourmet Mexican food, so it's a little pricey, but
Yeah.
the meat quality is amazing. They make their own tortillas from scratch from corn. Like you watch the lady making it. It's a little pricey, and then if you are going to drink, they do have beer, but they have like the agave, like they have their beer and wine
Like
license.
Do you remember Tequiza? Do they still have that?
I'm sure they do. So like soju is a huge thing, not Mexican stuff, more Korea stuff, but they have a beer and wine license, so they don't sell hard alcohol. So, but they do have beer, but they have amazing quality food there. But again, it's a little pricey. Cacao.
Eagle Rock, I know's got that. It's funny. There's a place called Leo's Tacos, and there's a place called Sonia's, and they're both on Eagle Rock Boulevard.
I haven't been to either of those.
And apparently, Leo and Sonia used to be a married couple, and then they got divorced, and now they have rival taco trucks on the same street.
Well, whatever, dude. They want to start competing and being a pain in the ass to each other. That's kind of break up. Just leave. Go to a different city. Somebody, please. Yeah. So nowadays, whenever again, now we move on a little bit. Let's see. We had to talk about LA food, LA aspects that you loved.
There's a great music community in LA, obviously. There's a great art community. There's also a bunch of full of shit people in those communities too. Yeah. And you just, it's all kinds of people all the time, everywhere.
Yeah, some place I might gonna do a quick edit on this portion here, but because I want to ask you one more like music question.
Yeah.
And I'll move it back. But so regarding like your music and your playing, when you are trying to kind of chill and sit down and listen to stuff.
Yeah.
What do you throw on now? Like, say you're gonna go home and you want to throw something down. What have you been listening to recently?
Oh, Victor Jara. He was a guy that during that whole Pinochet dictatorship in Chile, he wrote these kind of communist revolutionary songs. And the government killed him, and there's this like legend about him that they cut off his hands and said, "Play your guitar now." And so then he started singing, and they shot him. That's the legend, I don't know if that's apocryphal or what, but I've been listening to him because he's got a lot of, especially some of his instrumental stuff I really like. I've been listening to Sea Change by Beck. I've been going back to stuff that I used to listen to when I was like 16 and 17.
I've been listening
to Fragile by Nine Inch Nails and like Sea Change by Beck. And
I've been listening to The Cars and Stone Temple Pilots' Purple and Core album. I love I like grunge, so I've been like sticking with grunge. I've been listening to some electronic music as well.
Really?
Yeah, but besides that, what was that gentleman's name?
Oh, Victor Jara.
Victor Jara.
Jara.
And then what else have you been? I know you've always, I know you're into Miles Davis. He has a big influence on you.
Yeah. Well,
when did you
on all music really he does.
When did you hear him the first time?
I was oh shit, I guess I was 16 cuz it was in there was a history class I had with a guy named Mr. Payhar, and there was like one of those fucking off days or whatever. It's like when the teacher's like hungover, I think is what it is. But like it's like, okay, kids, we're not gonna do shit today. And like, oh, cool. And he like he put on Kinda Blue, and that was
that's
like
the definitive
my
album.
first time hearing it.
Yeah.
And I was like sort of just transported when I heard that, you know.
Yeah, we all have those
started
moments.
checking him out. I listened to there's a guy I really, really love from the jazz world. It looks like his name's Weldon Irvine. He pronounces it Irvine, but it's spelled just like Irvine, like the Irvine spectrum, or, you know.
Yeah. Well, everybody has to do something cool.
Weldon Irvine. He does that thing that oh, there's Kinda Blue. Yeah.
So what's his name? Irving?
Oh, Weldon Irvine, I guess.
He's jazz or what? What kind of music is he?
Yeah, and he was one of the first dudes to really embrace the hip hop community from the jazz world. And he, because, you know, in the 80s, they were sampling a lot of shit, and a lot of dudes were getting pretty pissed off about it. And in some cases, rightfully so, you know.
Yeah.
But he sort of embraced it, and he started releasing albums that were just little keyboard loops that he would lay down, and he was just like, have at it, like basically like it's public domain, you know, like sample it as much as you want. And
That's
he worked
awesome.
with people like A Tribe Called Quest and stuff like that.
And that's how they probably got that they have a jazz
That's
sound.
how I found out about him, was because of them. Because I used to read the liner notes, and their album from '93, Midnight Marauders, it has a song, probably their biggest hit song, Award Tour. We're on a world tour with Muhammad, my man. Remember that?
Yeah.
And
I love Tribe, by
and
the way.
that's, yeah, they're so great, man.
I love their
that
more
samples
recent
a song of his.
Their more recent album too has some really cool
That was
chords.
really cool. They just like picked up where they left off, didn't
Immediately. They sound a little older, but they still, like you said, pick up where they left off. That one song
They weren't trying to do any kind of like trap or anything. Like they were just...
Thank God. Because everybody's doing trap, and everybody wants to sound like Drake, and or the other dude,
Future.
No, well, yeah, Future, the Migos, they're all doing that, and then also
Lil Xan, Lil Pump,
the dude
Lil
from
Yachty.
no, fuck those dudes, Lil Uzi. No, the dude from Compton, who the badass dude.
Oh, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's sick. Yeah.
Yeah, but so they have this song. Tribe Called Quest has this song that when I was working on my kitchen, I was playing their album, and I stopped because I was like, the chords are really cool in all their songs. They have these really cool chords, like. It's like.
Yeah.
Something like that. They do it was
so cool.
And I was like listening to that, and I was just like, I was working, and I stopped, and I was like, what a cool little like thing that they did there. And they have this organ
and
too.
I think they wrote it probably.
Yeah, it's called. And they had live instruments. They had real guitars. They had real and that song and. Oh, dude, just that whole first CD is like, and that's that album that's called like We Could Take It From Here.
Yeah.
Such a cool album. That actually, like, yeah, Tribe back in the day kind of took me on because I went in, I kind of dug that poetic like hip hop. It took me a minute to get into like the gangsta rap stuff, like, but Tupac and Biggie, they killed it. I mean, they were awesome.
Yeah.
So, but then I heard like, ooh, like putting jazz with hip hop. That was like
sample,
really cool.
Yeah, you know that song Electric Relaxation that they do? It's like that would be the octave.
So cool. Yeah.
Higher up would be like.
So I love that, man.
They sampled that from And it's the weirdest thing because they don't credit it in the liner notes, but they sampled this guy named Ronnie Foster, this song called Mystic Brew. They put it in E flat. His is in F.
Yeah.
But it's the coolest chord progression, you know? But it's like, how did they even know about this guy? Like, same with like Weldon Irvine. Like, they're super hip dudes. The guys in Tribe.
Well, you know what happens is, well, they were in New York too. There's a lot of culture there, and you run into these things, and some genius will be sitting there and be like, I just found my sample, you know. Well, some dudes have that sample mind where they, like, you can hear just a clip and be like, oh, dude, I want to loop that. That's something I'd like to spend more time doing too. How does one even hone that skill, really? Like, well, you know what, dude? It really is. I've thought about it before, but it's just you could think of a joke if you're a comedian and never write it down, and you know it was a rad joke, and then it's gone. Yeah, it's like you got to strike when the shit's hot. Like if you find a song, like
it just flies into your head.
You got to be organized, and you got to write on your stupid notes like this song, fucking minute. Minute 01 to minute 06, like loop that, and it's like, and speed it up. That's like, you know, like Kanye West, like he was always like the king of taking a sample and like making it.
He would always speed it up. Like the chipmunk voice.
Yeah. But it worked through the wire. Yeah. But I've always wanted to dabble, you know. I've always wanted to dabble in that. I got into like Daft Punk. I got me into a little bit more electronic stuff. Cause dude, like in the 90s, before, like even when I was getting into like grunge and Hendrix, I was really into like 80s metal.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool, and I thought everybody was like behind, like with Blink 182. I was like, why are they so popular, and why is 80s metal so gone? And I don't know. I was in some stupid
Limp
cave.
Bizkit was so big, and Korn. That was an awful time.
There was a shift because I think like Korn and nu metal started popping up.
Papa Roach.
Nu metal popped up after Pantera, right? They did a marketable.
Oh well, post. I call it like post Pantera. Yeah. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So because like there was always heavy metal. A good documentary
and like thrash. And
if
stuff.
You're obsessed with metal, a very good documentary is called The History of Metal, and it basically talks about like the super roots of metal, where even metal was mentioned, like Heavy Metal Thunder. They talk about like that.
And that Steppenwolf song.
Steppenwolf, even though
Heavy Metal Thunder.
But they're talking
Born to Be Wild.
They're talking about motorcycles, but still. They say that was where it was mentioned. They talk about like Cream having a double bass pedal, and it was kind of set up like a definitive heavy metal sound. Helter Skelter by the Beatles is technically like a heavy metal song feel, and the real first heavy metal band was,
well, I guess
arguably Black Sabbath.
I was gonna say the metal really starts with Black Sabbath.
Yeah, that was, and
there's almost not even an argument about that.
So they started because they used to be a blues band called Earth.
Yeah,
and then there was another band called Earth, so they said, "Oh, okay." And then they started, and then Ozzy Osbourne, what if we had, there's Sharon, there's scary movies. Why can't there be scary music? And so they got hired to play some benefit or something for these stuffy dudes in suits who thought that they were the blues band Earth, and then they showed up and played "What Is This That Stands Before Me?" And they were like, "Get the fuck out of here!" But then they took over that scene, and then
Iron Butterfly too were pretty heavy for their time.
Yeah. Well, here, let me adjust something.
Metal kind of starts with Sabbath.
Yeah, it totally starts with Sabbath. So in that movie, there's them and Deep Purple. They talk about it, but them as heavy metal. And Dio pioneered power metal.
Yeah.
With Rainbow, which was the members of Deep Purple.
Well, it was Richie Blackmore
and then it went from power metal to thrash and speed metal.
Which was like Metallica and Slayer.
Thrash is Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, Big Four,
among
others. And then speed metal, well, power metal was Dio. They had that kind of slower, but and Judas Priest.
Yeah.
What was Iron Maiden is considered power metal, and power metal was
that
more
new wave of British heavy metal. They called all that.
Power metal was more operatic. It was always operatic,
like that Queensryche type shit.
Oh yeah, and Queensryche. What were they?
They
were just
operatic. They're operatic.
I would say that they're probably in the power metal genre.
And then there was There was like industrial metal.
That
like
started
9 Inch Nails
well before 9 Inch Nails. There was another band,
Ministry.
No, well they were there. No, but there was another
Throbbing
band called Jesus Mary Chain.
Oh, the Jesus and Mary Chain.
Jesus and Mary Chain.
Yeah.
They were a huge influence on 9 Inch Nails.
Oh yeah.
It's actually good to see like because I saw 9 Inch Nails recently at the Palladium.
As soon as I get my head round here, they were cool.
Dude, they put on a hell of a show too. He sings with his life. He sings with everything he has. Yeah, but it's basically this documentary shows a tree of like where all the bands offshot, and they even go into like at the end like Swedish metal, like they go to Pantera to Swedish metal,
and then it's like broken off into so many
new
categories now, right? Like
there's
black metal, fantasy metal, like
fantasy metal. Is that the word? It's like oh, senpai, and it's like
like Dragon Force.
Yeah, well, Dragon Force is like video game music.
It's like F-Zero.
I saw them at the House of Blues. They put on a really good show. Herman Lee, that's the guitar player. His hair is as long as his body. This Asian dude. He's killer, but they're like, I can't take him seriously. There's they sing like a caricature of like Dio songs, but with video game feel. So it's basically, and we will ride on the dragon, spilling the blood of the evil, and that's like that's them right there. What I just did right there. So if you want to get into Dragon Force, you can go to Instagram, dragonforce.com,
and they'll do that forever.
Yeah, they all get 1,000,000 points.
Just like just minor and major arpeggios on the guitar.
Yeah. But then they also do dive bomb, like whammy big things, like they all like big, like they're a bag of tricks,
Yeah.
Fun to see. If they're in town, I recommend seeing them. It's I like going to things like that.
Yeah.
On a side note too, I don't know how long we've been on, but it's been, let me actually double check right here. Turn this to time. We've had an hour and 30 something minutes.
Nice, man.
Is there any song that you think that I know that we can play, or do you want me to just pick another one? Something.
What we got?
What's something that we know together? Something beautiful.
Let's see. It's like one of those things that's happening where my brain is just stopped.
It could be because it's 4 a.m. 5. And my asshole friend's coming early. My friend
Really?
Yard Dog will be here, and we're gonna go get breakfast, and I'm gonna be worthless in the morning. Let's see. What's a good cover song? Should I just think of something?
Okay.
Oh, you want me, or you got it? You got it.
Yeah, think of something.
Okay. I'm going to pause for 2 seconds. Here we go, baby. We're doing this, closing this show out with little Messing with the Kid, little Junior Wells, and I'll do the little intro. What's this here? We're sitting going round town. People, they say they're gonna put the kid down. Oh, Lord. Oh, look at what you did. You can call it what you want, but I call it messing with the kid. That's anything you want, you just shake. And don't you get by about the time you get paid. Oh, Lord. Oh, look at what you did. You can call it what you wanna, but I call it messing with the kid. You spend my money like it comes as a gift. I work for my money on an 8-hour shift. Oh Lord, oh look at what you did. You can call it what you want, but I call it messing with the kid. Take it, Gannon. I see them all around town. People, they say they're gonna put the kid down. Oh Lord, look at what you did. You can call it what you wanna, but I call it messing with the kid. Take it, Gannon. That's a cool tune. There's one other song from yesterday that I was playing that I was like, we got to do this. It's a country tune, or it's really? At least I make it kind of country. One more tune. It's not hard. I'm gonna look this one up too. It's that I want to do for fun. You're gonna like it, and if I like it more than the other one, then I'll delete the other one. But no, here we go. What's his name? Ben Harper.
Oh, and the Innocent Criminals.
We're check this one out, and you can jump in, and I'll tell you the key. So
okay.
So the basic premise is B minor, A, and then E, and then there's a chorus that goes. So here's the intro. Could've sworn I heard you say, man, this morning. Could've some kind of sign that you believe. Did it fall from your tongue without warning? Or just another trick to fall right out of your sleeve? Did I hear you say that you believe in angels? Guess I'll bring the devil out of you. We can both remove our halos, 'cause even an angel needs love too. Here we go. Said the woman in you is the worry in me. never stay the same. But you're so innocent. I'll take the blame. Oh, how I hate to remember, for that means the day is past. Sometimes I wonder if I know her, or if I really need to ask. I said the woman in you is the worry, the worry in me. The woman in you is the worry, the worry in me. Woman, woman, woman. I'm taking it. B minor. The woman in you is the worry in me. The woman in you is the worry in me. A woman, a woman, a woman. Cool.
Hey, not bad. Huh?
Yeah, not bad for like. I don't know if you're familiar with that
I've
one.
never heard that song in my life.
Yeah, it's cool though. Yeah.
It's a cool song.
Yeah. No, I remember hearing that song. I was like, I think it's the first song on the, if not the first, it's maybe second song on that album. The, man, but it's a one of my favorite Ben Harper ones. It's got a lot of
Really?
soul. Yeah, it's got a lot of soul in that song. Once again, we got Gannon Wise, keyboard player in Latumba, also plays with Earth
Arrow.
Arrow,
I have played with them anyway.
Souls of Mischief,
I've
Leche.
played with them.
But check out his band Latumba. They play around LA. They've been adding lyrics to their songs, and they bring a lot of fun. They bring a lot of energy.
Thank you, man.
And I'm sure you'll be catching Gannon. He'll be. I'm gonna just say he's gonna be working on my stuff.
Yeah.
If not forced.
The beatings.
But thank you for tuning in. This is the White Wolf's Den. Give me some sexy jazz while I'm taking myself out, man.
All right.
This is the White Wolf's Den. You can catch me on social media. We got Instagram, the White Wolf's Den. We got SoundCloud, White Wolf's Den. We got without the H. It's Spotify. You can find me at iTunes podcasts. My website is www.whitewolfsden.com. It's no H, WITEWOLF. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in next time. I have some other crazy guests. It's not always about music or movies or entertainment only specifically, even though, or just LA, but I mean, that's our theme. LA, music, movies, and sorry, this music's so sexy. It's like distracting. Keep on going. Keep playing. Music, movies, entertainment. But it's every now and then I might have a kook on. Gannon's kind of a musician kook. He's all wrapped in one, and like a kook musician big package. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed some of the music. You can reach me at witewolfsden@gmail.com if you have any questions, and if they're absolutely fascinating, then I'll be answering them on the air. Until then, tell these people goodbye with something sexy, Gannon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, baby. Don't do me like that. Oh, baby. Ooh.